We really believe, to the core of our being, in our most sincere way, that you need to use technology to do things that are really important. And one of my dear, dear friends has taken a cause and taken technology and put them together in such a beautifully organized way that I cannot think of a better example, than how to just use your celebrity, modern technology, and just goodwill, positive thoughts to do good in the world. I'd like to introduce Marc Pollick, who is going to introduce the panel, and Michael J. Fox and his group are going to talk to you about how digital and good come together. Marc, thanks so much. Let's give it up. Thank you. You can use any one of these.
Middle? Where am I? At the end? I can be anywhere. I'm little. I fit in most places.
Okay. The man in the middle. Thank you, Shelley, very much. It's a great privilege for me to be on stage for this panel. And I want to start by introducing Laxmi. Did I get it right?
Yes.
Laxmi Wordham, who in the theme of the day is the Chief Digital Officer of the Michael J. Fox Foundation. And Laxmi, I'm glad they allowed you to bring a guest from the foundation.
Yeah.
Who'd you bring?
I brought the
less informed one.
Wait a
our
second.
inspiration, our Chief Inspiration Officer, Michael J. Fox.
I recognize him. You're
I
that
don't owe you any
famous.
money.
Aren't you that famous author?
Yeah, sometimes.
Michael J. Fox is the living, breathing example of why 16 years ago I founded the Giving Back Fund. Bob Costas, who was our first chairman, once said that celebrity is the #1 currency in America today. And Michael has found ways, powerful ways, not only to leverage that currency, but to put a beloved human face on an awful disease, in much the same way that Magic Johnson put a beloved human face on AIDS. 12 years ago, a very short 12 years ago, he started the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's Research. Let me tell you something about that foundation. If there's anything I know, it's about foundations. And this foundation, in 12 short years, has become the gold standard, a model for all disease foundations. And it's become that because it's found a way to cut through the clutter and to go around the egos, to bring together under one roof patient advocates, clinicians, researchers, big pharma, entrepreneurial biotech, and to get them to collaborate and to work together in a collegial way to solve a disease, to get to a cure. And that's an incredibly hard thing to do for disease foundations. And this foundation is special, very special among foundations exactly for that reason. And there's a consensus among scientists, and I've followed Parkinson's research for a long time now because we have some Parkinson's foundations, that this is the first disease that's going to fall. So if any of you in the audience who have technology that could impact what Michael and the team at the foundation are doing, this is the horse to bet on because this is the most likely disease to be cured, and we haven't cured a disease in 60 years in this country. Before we hear from Michael and Laxmi, we have a video that the foundation's created. We're going to show a little clip of it, and you can see the rest of it at the foundation website.
That's correct.
And it's narrated by the foundation's founder, well, you're the founder, but the first executive director, Debbie Brooks. Can we cue it up?
We provide researchers with the financial and intellectual resources they need so that they can get these results as quickly as possible. Michael J. Fox has a great way of thinking about our foundation's role when he talks about a department of cures. We'd all like to imagine an office where a high-level official sits at the center of all this work with a smart and comprehensive view of the entire field, orchestrating the efforts of all the players working on these complex problems. And then we'd like to have someone whose job it would be just to keep the whole business moving in an efficient way to assure that the best ideas are on a streamlined path towards the patients who need them. Sadly, there is no department like that. But this is the role our foundation is endeavoring to play in Parkinson's disease research. We've built a team of PhD neuroscientists paired with business-trained project leaders. Sitting at the global nexus of Parkinson's research, this team comes to work every day with one urgent goal: to prioritize research that can transform patients' lives. And in our short history, we have built the credibility and expertise to make real inroads. We understand not only science, but the business of science. And we are willing to take higher risks that can tilt the odds in favor of success. And we are seeing real progress. Today, more ideas are flowing into translation, and many of them are progressing from there to that vital Q to Z phase. Our work goes far beyond check writing. We really assess what is needed to get from A to Z, and then we bring it. I wouldn't want to leave you with the impression that any of this is easy. We must be sober about the work that needs to be done. But it'll be a great day when we find that last breakthrough. Patients have the treatments they need, and we can close our doors. Until then, we will keep at it and do whatever it takes. We're problem solvers, and we're optimistic.
Michael, you wrote in Lucky Man, which is a phenomenal autobiography, honest and very poignant, about going on online chat rooms about 14 years ago to talk to other Parkinson's patients. That was at the early age of the internet. Things are so advanced now, there's online...
Steam age.
The Steam age. We have now all sorts of online networks and social networks. Can you talk a little bit about why that's so important to be able to communicate with other patients and how those tools and technologies help patients and the foundation?
Well, before there ever was a foundation, as you said, I had just kind of disclosed publicly that I had Parkinson's and I'd been diagnosed, and it took me a while to get to where I just thought once I let the genie out of the bottle, the genie's out of the bottle. I can't get it back in, and I can't control people's perception of me, and would I work anymore, and all those questions. And then I was avoiding the newspaper, and I was avoiding TV news because they were covering it and I was on MSNBC, and I was in slow motion, which means you're either dead or under indictment. And it was scary. So, but I started to go on PD chat sites and go into chat rooms. And I realized that, and this is the key thing, I realized I was part of a community. That I was part of, this thing that I kind of dealt with for 7 years by myself and with my family, that there were others out there that were having the same experience with medication as I was, the same frustration with doctors, the same concerns and fears about what the future held, and questions about their work and could they get insurance with the existing condition and would their bosses, if their bosses knew, would they be fired? And all those things. I said, wow, this is really powerful. This is really amazing. And that kind of moved me to where, to when I started the foundation. And another thing happened, which was, I believe it was Al Gore was all of a sudden raising all this money on the internet.
Discovered the internet, right?
Yeah, like he invented it, yeah, for exactly that purpose. That's so the legend goes. But he and I saw, wow, this is a convening tool, this is a fundraising tool, it's an educational tool. So right from the beginning of our foundation, that was part of the foundation of it. It expanded, and we especially when Laxmi came along, we really figured out how to harness it in a really powerful way. But it was always there in our operation, in our philosophy, was to use the internet and to use social media.
How does it help you that people can have access to each other and to your foundation?
Well, one of the key ways, I mean, the thing that pops nearest to mind now, more than fundraising even, is we're trying to get cohorts for clinical trials. We're trying to get people to get involved in clinical trials and to be collaborators in their own rescue, and to because scientific research is what is our main focus. We're not a patient services organization. We don't deal with direct medical advice. We're about research and funding research, and in facilitating research, and in much more, and in a way beyond just funding it. Like I said, we have this. Laxmi can talk about it because she helped set it up. Fox Trial Finder, which is a way that patients can find out what clinical trials are happening near them. And they fill out a profile anonymously and get hooked up with researchers all around the country. And it's an amazing tool. So why don't you go ahead and...
Yeah, so Michael's absolutely right. We see an opportunity in using digital, using online to not only reach the Parkinson's community, but really provide a community for patients, their loved ones, for researchers, all the different individuals and organizations that need to come together to collaborate to really find a cure for Parkinson's. One of the exciting things about the progress of research is that we are funding more and more clinical trials. And as we looked at what are the obstacles in clinical trials, we found that 80% of clinical trials were delayed because of recruitment issues. And in using the brand of the Michael J. Fox Foundation and what could we do to solve that problem, we decided to create the Match.com of clinical trials for Parkinson's. And so it's called Fox Trial Finder. We launched it in April of this year. Michael was Diane Sawyer's Person of the Week. And in that 1 week, on that day, we actually got 1,000 patients to sign up for clinical trials. So that's the power of brand and media and using technology that really will progress, finding a cure. So today, in 6 months, we have close to 11,000 volunteers that have signed up for Fox Trial Finder, and 75% of those are patients. We also need controls. So, if you know someone with Parkinson's, please let them know, and you can also be a control and participate in finding a cure.
The term that you used before, collaborators in their own rescue, that's a great term.
I'm sure it bubbled out from something Laxmi
A
said.
poet in addition to an author. This is a media and technology summit, and media and technology are tools that can be used for a variety of purposes, but when they're used to cure diseases, when they're used to help fellow human beings, I think there's a sense that media and technology can become ennobled, and we can become feel very good rather, about how we deploy these tools. Can either of you talk about the ways in which you've used technology to advance either the fundraising or the research aspects of the foundation? And the reason I ask you that question is because we have 800 people who are technology experts in the audience, and they represent companies that, if they understood what you were doing better, perhaps could bring what they bring to the table to benefit the foundation.
Well, I think again, it's convening and empowering. That's the two key things with the convening, empowering, and fundraising. And so anything that helps us do that better, anyone who's got a better mousetrap for that, that's fantastic. I mean, we'd love to talk to them. We think we're at the state of the art now, but certainly we don't define the state of the art, so we want to catch up to it. And so whoever represents the state of the art, please come and see us. But I would think that's the key thing. And also, I know we're going to talk about it, but using the digital to associate with certain marketing and attention getting and fundraising schemes or plans or ideas. Great. I mean, associations we've had with
Should I say Nike?
Nike and.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and.
Yeah, so, some of the examples of how we've used, sponsorships, collaborations. Last year, Nike launched the Nike Mag, which was the shoe that Michael wore in Back to the Future 2. They did a replica of that shoe, and they auctioned off 1,500 pairs of the shoe on eBay.
And they brought together three really powerful groups: sneakerheads, tech people, and Back to the Future fans.
Which is like the trifecta for online auctions, apparently.
Yeah.
So with those 1,500 shoes, it was the largest auction ever on eBay. $4.7 million was raised in a matter of 10 days.
Gets better.
It gets better, yeah. We actually had a donor we have a challenge going on right now. So all new donations will be matched up to $50 million till the end of the year. And so the Nike auction qualified for the match. So with that one auction, we were able to raise $9.4 million. So it was pretty incredible. But more than the auction itself, there was huge awareness. I mean, Nike just turned on their marketing machine for us, which was pretty incredible. It was able to draw a lot of attention to our website, to our Facebook page. We now have 166,000 Facebook fans.
They use their fuel band thing for a one-off. We brought in another $50,000, but even that kind of new emerging technologies like the fuel band and other things too. There are ways to apply it.
Yeah, and it really got individuals involved. We're experimenting with other partnerships as well. So we're partners with Charity Miles. You can walk, run, exercise, and your miles get donated through other corporations, turn into donations for the foundation, which is great. We're also in the process of developing a Facebook app that is this Tell Us Your Story, because we want to harness the story of individual community members. SynCaps built that for us pro bono, and a pharma company, UCB, is donating $60,000. So $5 for every like and share of that app. So that should be coming out in the next couple weeks. So we're trying to experiment with all different ways that we can work with companies like you to really draw awareness. And really, we need people to fund research, and we need people to participate in research. And those are the two key actions that we're trying to draw.
Well, that leads us perfectly into the next question, because it's about cause marketing. And cause marketing right now is as hot as anything in the marketing world. It's as effective as anything. The research is off the charts. The Cohn-Roper survey is showing why cause marketing is effective. And when you have a celebrity who's at the top of a foundation, celebrities drive eyeballs. And you can drive them to General Motors, or you could drive them to Parkinson's research. So the challenge for charities is how to make use of that celebrity to create a win-win for the company and for the foundation. In addition to Nike, can you talk about other things that you've done that have created win-wins for different companies you've worked with along the lines of cause marketing? Because there might be companies here that could build their brand by helping you, and that's a win-win, and doing well by doing good is a great way to do business.
Do you want to talk about the Ralph Lauren dog tags?
Oh yeah, there's strange things happen in strange ways. But my wife Tracy was in a store, in a Ralph Lauren store over the summer a couple of years ago, and she ran into Ralph Lauren's brother, and she mentioned this thing about dog tags, that she had an idea about dog tags as a fundraiser for the foundation. Where if you knew someone who had Parkinson's, or you had Parkinson's, you might want to get one of these dog tags. And Ralph Lauren picked up on it and created these dog tags, and had an event through their store and their online branch, and it was a tremendous fundraiser for us. And so it's always I think celebrity, or however you want to look at that. I mean, from the very beginning of the foundation, I realized, like Bob Costa said, it's currency, it's coin, but you want to be careful how you use it, and you don't want to wear it out. You want to. I think from the beginning of the foundation, we've had an expression, purity of motive, and whenever we get into any outside questions about anything that's not productive, we just get back to purity of motive. Like, just how is this in service of what our goal is? And so I want to be careful when I do things, not to not have it about me but through me, and that leaves room for collaborators and partners to realize this isn't my show. I want to hear what your ideas are. I want to collaborate with you, and I want to put you as front and center as you may put me, or others may put me. I mean, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in purity of motive. Well, how can we achieve the goal? And if we have partners that they can work with us, I'm sure it's a win-win, because they'll know on our part we are efficient, we're driven, I think we're smart about our resources and how we use them. We're respectful of the people we serve and the people who serve us, and I think that makes for a valuable partnership.
That phrase, "not about me, through me," when I was reading Lucky Man again last night, that exact phrase is in the book. You must have written that.
Yeah, there's a thing when I wrote the first book, and there's always suspicion about actors writing books, and I heard this great story, and I can't remember who the two players were, but some famous actress had written a book, and a famous model came up to her at a party and said, "I love your book. Who wrote it for you?" And the actress said, "I did. Who read it to you?"
I think you have a future in comedy. If you could create a wish list, this question's for both of you, of anything in the world that you could dream of or ask for the foundation, what would be your number one wish? Actually, you get one. You get two because you're a famous author. What would be your greatest wish for the foundation?
My greatest wish is really a fast forward button. I would really like to jumpstart a lot of projects that we have ongoing right now. And part of that fast forward button is to really work more collaboratively with the Parkinson's community. So, I think Fox Trial Finder is one step for us, right? That's how we're working to get engaged with patients and their loved ones. But how can we take that one step further? And what we really want to do is start to capture more information on the patient community, on what it's like to live with Parkinson's. And, we've talked at this conference about big data. Well, let's start collecting that data, and let's put it in the hands of the researchers so that they can start to analyze that data for hypothesis generation, trend analysis, and cohort identification. I mean, that's really where the direction that we're headed in terms of using technology. But my wish for you guys is, how can we, on the other end, create more awareness? How can we find collaborators in the digital and technology space to help us achieve some of the sort of main goals that we have, so that we can find a cure sooner rather than later?
So I get two. So I'll start with the practical one, and then I'll go to one that's a little different. The practical one is I wish, along the lines of what Laxmi's saying, there's all these silos of collected information, whether it's academic or government or pharma or whatever, and it just gets stacked on top of each other, and there's no means forward. There's no highway to cures and therapies, and so our mission has been to try to tip those over and get them moving in a linear way, as linear as possible, and creating a throughway for this information. And that happens through collaboration, and that happens, we do things like that I would have thought, I had to have explained to me 2 or 3 times before I got the brilliance of them, but we'll make $5 million grants to multi-billion-dollar corporations to keep them working on a certain compound that we think has promise. So we'll de-risk that research for that company. And I would have thought, writing checks to $1 companies, but that's a way to facilitate it moving forward. And the personal wish I have is just that I wish for all the times that people come up to me and give me a hug, and I can tell by the way they comport themselves that they have Parkinson's too. And I wish there's that moment when we hug, and I wish I could just whisper in their ear when the answer's coming, and we're working on it.
Well, the fact that you have chosen, Michael, to put the mantle of fighting this disease on your shoulders is not only a brave choice, but one that, in the cause of a lifetime that was already very significant, is going to have significance for generations to come. And I congratulate you for all your efforts. Nobody anointed you. as having to bear that burden, and it's not an easy burden. So the work that you're doing is going to have tremendous impact for not only Parkinson's, but all diseases that follow. Thank you for your efforts.
Thank you for letting us
Thank
talk
you.
about it.
I'm sorry?
I said thank you for letting us talk about it.
Let's give it up for these guys. Mike.
Yeah.